Dinosaurs ruled the Korean peninsula and the rest of the world 80 million years ago, during the Cretaceous era. Numerous dinosaur species once called the area of the Earth now known as Jeonnam-yosu their home. The vicious hunter of the jungle, the Tarbosaurus, is one of them. A young Tarbosaurus called Speckles claims in a monologue that he was born on the night of the full moon. Speckles is a playful and inquisitive youngster who resides with his mother, twin sisters, and older brother. The family's nest is perched atop a mountain, giving them an unobstructed view of the entire forest. They enjoy each other's company while foraging and pursuing herbivorous dinosaur species. However, Speckles has not yet learned how to slay prey because he is only a year old. However, he makes notes about the hunting strategies his elder siblings employed while on the hunts. While the other two brothers ambush the prey, his older brother chases after it. Speckles is eager to apply these strategies throughout his business as well. But when the day of his training eventually comes, it is the start of a protracted and arduous journey for him into adulthood. On that particular day, Mom is prepared to show Speckles how to kill prey when all of a sudden, the ground beneath them begins to tremble. It is the result of a huge dinosaur stampede that a T-Rex, the strongest predator of them all, started. Everyone calls him One-Eye because he is lacking an eye. Little Speckles and his siblings begin to flee during the commotion in search of safety, but they ultimately become divided. While the twin sisters are thrown off the cliff, his older sibling is crushed to death by some dinosaurs. Mom shows up then as well, but she's a little late. Out of her 4 kids, only Speckles is still living. She regrettably doesn't even have time to lament before One-Eye assaults her. Mom battles valiantly for a while but is quickly defeated. She is thrown off the cliff as a result of the vicious Tyrannosaur gaining the upper edge. She repeatedly bumps into the rocks before finally plummeting to her demise. Speckles, meanwhile, sobs as he observes his mother's passing from a distance. He is now stranded and without a place to go. He isn't even proficient in hunting. He nevertheless makes a promise to someday exact revenge on his family. The young Tarbosaurus can be seen raiding nests and scavenging in the following scenario. He takes an egg from a pterosaur, a flying reptile, and feeds himself to stop starving. But regrettably, the snake shows up and begins pursuing him. Speckles almost loses his life, but he escapes by jumping into a waterway. Later, Speckles witnesses a herd of velociraptors pursuing prey while hiding out in a shed. Small carnivores known as velociraptors are dreaded for their agility and ferocity. Following them covertly, Speckles discovers that the prey has been caught by none other than One-Eye, the T-Rex. We discover that One-Eye has taken over Speckles' residence and now occupies it as the jungle's ruler. Speckles sneaks inside and tries to take some meat because he is out of food, but One-Eye catches him. Fortunately, he avoids being assaulted as he flees. The film then fast-forwards to a later period. Despite being 5 years old, Speckles is still too immature to exact revenge for his family's murder. One-Eye is still killing people and ruling the forest in the interim. A lethal conflict between 2 horned dinosaurs breaks out one day. They are battling to establish their dominance over the local women. One of them eventually loses and is expelled from their organization. One-Eye will have the ideal chance to hunt his prey at this time. He decides to pursue the horned dinosaur, but another enormous carnivore stops him. These predators' talons are so razor-sharp they can cut through even bones. However, the T-Rex is not going to give up so quickly. He employs cunning and succeeds in tricking the predator into having his claws caught in a tree. Then One-Eye snatches him by the throat and murders him. A scared Speckles is watching all of this from close. After some time, as One-Eye is enjoying his recent kill, Blue Eyes, a female Tarbosaurus, appears out of nowhere and chooses to steal his food. She immediately takes off, however, after realizing how aggressive and threatening One-Eye is. In the meantime, Speckles succeeds in robbing One-Eye of some sustenance. He is pursued by a female Tarbosaurus, and out of sympathy, he offers her some flesh. Blue Eyes also opens up as a result of this thoughtful action, and the two quickly become friends. Together, they seek and stay alive now. 5 years later, Speckles and Blue Eyes have moved far from One-Eye in the scenario that follows. Speckles pursues the prey while Blue Eyes ambushes it as they search together. He picked up this trick from his departed brothers. The two start living peacefully and become inseparable as a result. One-Eye eventually finds their hunting ground, though, and makes another effort to annex it. He first assaults Blue Eyes and hurts her. This enraged Speckles, who makes futile efforts to exact revenge. He still cannot stand a chance against the strong beast. As a result, he makes the decision to look for an alternative route and ultimately devises a strategy. He does not waste any time in luring One-Eye to the marsh and trapping him there. He begins to gently drown because the soil is so loose. When Speckles and Blue Eyes notice this, they rejoice in their success. They had no idea that One-Eye was a tenacious beast, though. He approaches them from behind, prepared to put an end to them. Thankfully, Speckles and Blue Eyes are able to flee just in time. A few days later, we observe that the couple has once more left their territory in an effort to get as far away from One-Eye as they can. Days of arduous walking go by, but they come across no indication of life. Even Blue Eyes becomes ill and determines she cannot continue. Speckles notices a sizable group of friendly dinosaurs moving in that exact moment. He extends himself to see a hot spring beneath the Rocky Mountains. The pair immediately helped themselves to the hot spring and relaxed in the water because this was the hope they needed. 10 years later, the two have established themselves in a new woodland that is far from the first. At the age of 20, Speckles is a youthful, strong male. He can kill his prey by simply cornering it. He is also expecting to have blue-eyed children. Sadly, their joy is short-lived when the ferocious T-Rex returns one day. He's still committed to finishing off the pair once and for all. While Speckles tries to save Blue Eyes, he cleverly tosses a rock at them from above, sending Blue Eyes flying into the water. One Eye then descends with a resounding bellow and launches himself at Blue Eyes. She makes a valiant effort, but it is insufficient. Then One Eye grabs her by the throat and prepares to put an end to her. Thankfully, Speckles arrives at this point and protects his hurt partner. He is reminded of the scene of his mother's death when he sees Blue Eyes on the ground. He therefore gathers all his strength and tackles the T-Rex because he does not want to see history repeat itself. Unexpectedly, he succeeds in throwing One Eye to the ground and forcing him to flee after a taxing duel. This makes Speckles happy because he has finally vanquished his longtime foe. He reclaims his former family's home and hunting lands after winning. After that, the couple chooses to have their eggs hatch there. The process is very demanding because Blue Eyes must watch over the hatchlings round the clock for a month. Sadly, only 3 of the tiny babies survive due to the hostile climate. One of the infants has blotches all over his body and resembles Speckles in every way. As a result, his parents choose the moniker Speckles Jr. for him. The conclusion of the Cretaceous era is drawing closer. As the days grow longer and warmer, the world changes. Water sources nearby start to evaporate, and the area continues to get drier. The majority of the herbivorous dinosaurs are struggling to locate new food. One afternoon, the kids start to scream for assistance, but Speckles and Blue Eyes are preoccupied and fail to hear any impending danger. A powerful earthquake strikes the earth abruptly, causing the nearby active volcano to explode. Huge fireballs are ejected from the volcano, which starts to burn down the woodland. All the dinosaurs are terrified by this, and they are compelled to leave their home range. Their immediate environment appears to be disintegrating. When the disaster strikes, Speckles and his family are passing through a shortcut tunnel when all of a sudden, rocks and other debris start to descend from the sky. Sadly, one of the kids is struck by a massive boulder and instantly dies. Another piece of debris descends and strikes Blue Eyes in the leg as she reaches for her other children to be safe. She is severely hurt and is unable to even move. Following this, Speckles and his family join other migratory dinosaur herds that are escaping the natural catastrophe. After 2 weeks of travel, there is still no trace of water or life. All that is left is a vast desert of nothing. The majority of them become fatigued from the long walk and lack of food and drink, so one by one they start to pass out on the ground. The carcass-eating velociraptors, which frequently hunt in packs and prey on the weakest, have the ideal chance here. An enormous herbivorous dinosaur suddenly collapses to the ground from fatigue. A herd of velociraptors that are eager to devour their fresh food quickly surrounds him. Sadly, Blue Eyes' leg injuries have rendered her unable to move any longer. Speckles urges his partner to stand up because he is aware that she might meet the same end as the herbivorous dinosaur. Blue Eyes, on the other hand, is unable to rise and gives up. Then, she exhorts Speckles to take the kids and flee on his own. The velociraptors decide to attack Blue Eyes next after spotting her in a vulnerable state. Speckles maintains his position and ends up killing a few of them. But with every passing second, he becomes more and more tired. The situation is made worse when the velociraptors spot Speckles' 2 children and chase after them. Blue Eyes weakens to the point where she is unable to breathe in the interim. She slowly shuts her eyes as she bade her family farewell. In the following scene, Speckles laments the loss of his wife but quickly realizes they do not have long, so he carries his kids and flees from the velociraptors. He and the kids make it to a safe place and turn around to witness the evil creatures devour Blue Eyes. Speckles, who is inconsolable, only offers an apology. The herd eventually receives some relief 2 weeks later. They can make out a vast, fertile region in the distance where there is ample food and shelter for everyone. However, the route to the lush sanctuary is extremely perilous. They must traverse a precarious edge that encircles the mountains, and below them stretches an endless deep sea. In spite of this, Speckles and his 2 kids slowly advance with the herd in an effort to get to the oasis and begin a new existence. One Eye can be seen observing the herd from atop a mountain while being careful. A stampede of dinosaurs abruptly approaches Speckles and his children as they are moving through the congested path. This brings back recollections of Speckles' childhood, when his siblings were killed in a similar stampede. To his surprise, he runs into One Eye again, who was displaced by the same natural catastrophe. Then it is disclosed that One Eye has started the stampede, just like he did before, to ambush Speckles and his family. The two enormous beasts meet again and engage in what develops into a fierce fight. One Eye chooses to pursue Speckles' children when he begins to lose. Although the latter makes every effort to save the children, one of them tragically perishes. Filled with revenge, Speckles attacks One Eye and manages to thud him in the ground. But the tough T-Rex gets back up and launches Speckles Jr. over a precipice and into the water. He then starts to corner Speckles in a similar way to how he cornered his mother. The T-Rex is ultimately defeated by our hero Tarbosaurus, who also succeeds in tossing it off the precipice. He then turns to gaze at his son, who is still alive and yelling for assistance. He also notices One Eye moving in the direction of the youngster while still living. Speckles is startled by the scene and leaps into the water to save his last surviving kid. Meanwhile, the young person is seen clinging to submerged timber for dear life. When One Eye is about to seize him, Speckles sneaks up behind him and attacks. The two fight for a while again and get hurt in the process. We observe a couple of water dinosaurs, also known as Tylosaurus, moving in their direction as a result of the blood odor in the water. Speckles is aware of this and is concerned for his kid because he is by himself and exposed in the water. He finally defeats One Eye and throws him off to the Tylosaurus following a protracted battle in the water. The vicious T-Rex is eventually put to death as a result. After some time, Speckles rejoins his boy and moves in the direction of the far-off oasis. Despite the difficult and lengthy route, he is unwilling to give up. Sadly, after a while, his eyes begin to tire and finally close, just when it appears as if the father-son duo has been killed. In the next scene, we discover that they have somehow made it to the shore. When Speckles hears his son frantically calling for him while he is still unconscious on the shore, he opens his eyes. Speckles ends the monologue by wishing his son a peaceful, contented existence in this new, lush jungle.